Can you share what happened leading up to your stroke and what your recovery journey has looked like since then?
Well, I had an accident. I fell in the middle of the night and my head hit a granite countertop and my vertebrae had shifted into my spine. And I had a stroke immediately after that. And then while I was in a long surgery, almost a 12-hour surgery, I had 2 additional strokes. So I came out of that basically pretty paralyzed. And in addition to that, I went on and off a ventilator for 12 days.
What were some of the hardest mental health hurdles that you've had to deal with while recovering?
Couldn't move. It took 2 people to pick me up and put me in a wheelchair. Just to get out of bed, to get in a wheelchair in order to go to speech therapy, and I call it food therapy. There's all IV food, and then it was half IV and half mush. It was a 9-stage process where I was on a machine when I would eat, slowly advanced me. So I just wanted to get to, can I live life semi-normal? You're going to progress, and then you're probably going to back up a little bit. Don't get frustrated. Fight through those couple steps back, and fight harder, actually, when you're falling backwards than when you're going forward.
At 50, I can't play basketball. Oh, at 55, maybe I'm going to drive around on the golf course rather than walk on the golf course. So I think that we've set these limitations in our mind, but in reality, the body is capable of so much more if you let your mind back you up.
Who wants to live if you don't have the quality of life?
Yes.
So I think doing these kinds of things in your 50s, 60s, and 70s is going to give you a very strong quality of life late into life.
As you were recovering from the stroke and the accident, was there ever a doubt in your mind that you wouldn't return to normal?
Certainly some time in the first year that I questioned it. It's one day at a time, but it's also 1 week at a time, 1 month at a time, and then your long-term goal where you want to get. You'll get too worn out if you just look at the long-term goal. You have to say, I'm going to get better today, and I'm going to get better this week. And then that gives you an encouragement to continue to drive towards that end goal.
Welcome back to the 1% Club podcast, where we explore the challenges and the triumphs of high performance with a spotlight on mental health and wellness. I'm Sean Freitas, your host, and today I'm honored to welcome Brandt England, a stroke survivor who made a remarkable recovery here at Project Wellbeing. Brandt's journey is a powerful story of resilience, determination, and the mental health challenges that come with overcoming such a life-changing event. Brandt, it's an absolute pleasure to have you with me today.
Hey, great to be here. Thanks, Sean.
Brandt, let's start from the beginning. Can you share what happened leading up to your stroke and what your recovery journey has looked like since then?
Well, I had an accident. I fell in the middle of the night and my head hit a granite countertop and my vertebrae had shifted into my spine. And I had a stroke immediately after that. And then while I was in a long surgery, almost a 12-hour surgery, I had 2 additional strokes. So I came out of that basically pretty paralyzed. And in addition to that, I went on and off a ventilator for 12 days. So it didn't look very good. 2+ weeks in the hospital, went to an inpatient facility, and it was a long, long journey.
And how long ago was that now?
It's about 5 years ago.
Okay. And then, leading up to that event, how was your life? No health issues or anything
normal,
like that?
Perfectly healthy, worked out, 3, 4, 5 days a week, and played golf a lot. And prior to that, ran biathlons and also ran 7 marathons.
Yeah, I think that's kind of something that to take a note home is, I guess at any moment in life, something, can happen, traumatic, and unfortunately we don't have any control over that. But, ever since I've known you, you've always been, great spirited and optimistic. And I really appreciate that from you on how you were able to kind of handle that traumatic situation that you were in.
Well, they kind of said to me after this has happened, you have a choice. You can either feel sorry for yourself, or you can set goals and see if you can get yourself back walking again. Well, I wanted a lot more than just walking again.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I remember when we were talking about you getting back and playing golf. I think that was probably a big milestone marker for you. Unfortunately, with those traumatic events and it kind of stripping you of the things that you love doing, I think that would you say today that when you do get opportunities and you go play golf, do they mean more to you today than they did before this accident?
It's absolutely funny. I don't get frustrated on the golf course like I used to. I used to shoot in the high 70s consistently. Now I shoot, sometimes in the 80s, sometimes low 90s. If I shoot 93 or 86, I have the same smile coming off the course because I know I'm lucky to be out here.
That's amazing. No, I definitely, look up to you for that. Recovering from a stroke is such an immense challenge, and both physically and mentally. What were some of the hardest mental health hurdles that you've had to deal with while recovering?
Well, number one, I couldn't move. It took two people to pick me up and put me in a wheelchair. So just to get out of bed, to get in a wheelchair in order to go to speech therapy, and I call it food therapy. There's probably a medical term for that, but I couldn't eat. I was getting all IV food, and then it was half IV and half mush. And then it was a 9-stage process where I was on a machine when I would eat, and they would slowly advance me. So I just wanted to get to, can I live life semi-normal? And of course, once I knew I could get past that, then, hey, I want to play golf. I want to work out again. I want to jog a little bit. So you keep setting goals as you progress.
Yeah, and I was just talking to the two NFL guys, and I was like, I was like, this video is going to be one of the most special to me as you were getting filmed today, because it just shows a level of resiliency that you don't know that you need until you face it, in life. And I think that that's something that can really inspire people, because I think we all have bad days, and a lot of times we burden ourselves with our own circumstances. But I think that when you watch someone go through something so traumatic but come out on the other side an even more amazing person, I think people should take notes on that and what you've done for yourself, and the way that you show up for yourself, most importantly, and then you're able to show up for your family and then your friends. I think it inspires a lot more people than you know. It certainly inspires a lot of people in here.
Well, thank you. I guess the hardest thing for me, it took a while for me to accept this, is you're going to progress, and then you're probably going to back up a little bit. Don't get frustrated. Fight through those couple steps back, and fight harder, actually, when you're falling backwards than when you're going forward.
Yes.
And that is, even today, like there's some days my right arm goes straight up easily, and there's other days, well, it's 85%. But that's okay, because your body just has a bad day for whatever reason.
Yeah, and I think that comes down to one term, as how have you maintained your consistency like you have? Because every day you come in here, I don't know exactly how you're feeling, but you always have a positive nature about yourself. So what drives you to have that level of consistency now?
I want to feel good every day. I'm 61 years old. The older you get, the more I want a good quality of life. And I'm not a world-class athlete, and I'm not striving to be, but I'm striving to feel good every day and live a long, complete life without discomfort, or minimizing my discomfort. I'm always going to have some discomfort, but let's minimize it and let's enjoy life.
As we always bring up age, we use our age almost like as a mental crutch, but really it's like you may be 70 years old or 80 years old, but your body's moving like you're 40 years old. And I'm sure you have a lot of friends that are the same age as you that don't work out and don't move their body. And can you touch a little bit on that? Like, I'm sure that people that should definitely be working out and continue to strengthen as they get older, and they're probably limited to a lot of things they can do.
Well, there's a lot of people here that I see day to day that are much older than me, in the 70s, and they're aspiring to me. It's inspirational to see them here for 2, 3, 4 hours doing workout stuff, doing recovery stuff, and that helps drive me. And then I have friends that are probably on the couch today watching 8 hours of football and having a six-pack. I prefer not to do that.
Yeah, and it's like, before, I'm still new to the whole social media thing, but for 10 years, most of my clients have been 45 to 75 years old, but I was never able to really show what that looked like. So having a chance to, have videographers and podcasts and showcase like how important it is to, to perform as you age, and focus, I think too many times are focused on longevity. But what about your health span optimization, like the quality of life of the years that you're going to live? And this is having, a chance to be able to do that, and people can actually see what it looks like. But I think what I'm seeing now is always what I envisioned for the company. Like, there's no reason why you can't run or push sleds or jump on a Vertimax when you're 61 years old. It's just, I think we put these mental cleavers down, like, at 50 I can't play basketball. At 55, maybe I'm going to drive around on the golf course rather than walk on the golf course. So I think that we've set these limitations in our mind, but in reality, the body is capable of so much more if you let your mind back you up.
Yep. And we're living so much longer than we used to. People are, but who wants to live if you don't have the quality of life?
Yes.
So I think by doing these kinds of things in your 50s, 60s, and 70s is going to give you a very strong quality of life late into life.
And what would you say your definition of quality of life is?
Feeling comfortable every day, not being in pain, being able to walk a few miles with the dog, or being able to play golf 18 holes and then and walk the dog and feel good. It sounds simple, but there's a lot of people that go through pain and discomfort every day. And yes, everyone's going to have some discomfort as they get older, but minimizing the amount of discomfort and giving you, geez, I got up, I wake up, I feel good, I walked the dog for a mile, now I'm going to go play 18 holes of golf, I'm going to go home and have dinner, and I feel good.
Yes, and I think that, especially, in our business and having physical therapy here, why do people wait so long to take care of their body until they can't put their t-shirt on, can't tie their shoes, can't brush their teeth because they have pain? It's almost like they ignore it until it gets too late and it gets bad enough. And I feel like they're ignoring pain, but they're also ignoring the health of their body as well. And one day you wake up and be like, man, I'm in really bad shape, and I wish I would have taken care of myself sooner. In your years of work in your career, did you always take care of yourself?
Yeah, I did. I always exercised and participated in sports, and I always tried to get reasonable amount of sleep. I've always tried to live a healthy life, but of course, when you're younger, you don't live as healthy as you should.
Yeah.
And you touched on something with physical therapy. I saw a lot of people that did physical therapy just for whether they're recovering from a hip replacement or whatever it was. We would just do the minimum, the 3 months or 6 months physical therapy. I'm 5 months later, and I'm doing physical therapy here. And a lot of people said you're not going to get benefit from physical therapy after the first year of a major stroke. That is so untrue. I'm still getting benefits of physical therapy a little over 5 years later. And it's amazing. If you have quality people in physical therapy, there's no reason to stop.
Yeah, and I think that we hear that because obviously having a cash-based clinic here, in the normal physical therapy, the insurance is dictating how we can help you. And they'll put limitations on everything, where in cash pay, we can do whatever we want to do for you to maximize that. So what does that mean? And instead of just laying on the table and being able to lift your leg up, you can go ahead and push a sled on the turf and really advance your body as much as you want, because guess what? That's still physical therapy. Mm-hmm. Physical therapy is performance. And I think that we hear physical therapy and be like, I'm just going to lift a 1 pound dumbbell over my head. It's like, that's what you do at lazy PT clinics here. But here, you're right. We're not just trying to get you back to where you used to be. We're trying to get you back and be better and do all the things that you love to do. And I think you touched on it. You've noticed that, hey, if I incorporate physical therapy or body work or training into my lifestyle, now it is a lifestyle for me. Like, I'm going to be okay no matter what I face. Really important question. As you were recovering from the stroke and the accident, was there ever a doubt in your mind that you wouldn't return to normal?
Yeah, there was certainly some time in the first year that I questioned it. When I had a physical therapist that said, I'm going to teach you how to walk, but you're going to go through a lot of pain, a lot of discomfort. And it was hard. It was really hard. Did I think I wouldn't get there? I guess I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure. Because I had the best piece of equipment. I had these things that would help you walk at 10%, and then 20. You were walking at 10 and 20%, and it was a gradual process of teaching you to walk, and there are several different machines that can help you do that. So yeah, I had some doubts, but I knew I wanted to get there. So
I think you said it in the beginning, is you set that intention in your mind, and it was like, I'm going to get back to normal no matter what. And honestly, I think that not only did you get back to normal, but you got more advanced. I think you went to a better place and continued to do so. And I just think it's really cool to see, once I was able to take a step back in my company and be able to watch everything that's happening. It is magical how I think that mental health and the brain are so much more involved in all the things that we do out there than people actually think. I think they see all the physical stuff, but I don't think they really know what's happening in their brain, and the level of intimacy with themselves that's needed in order to get through a lot of these things in their life. It's just like, we get people's blood work back and it's really bad, and we tell them, hey, you're not going to be labeled by your blood work, because this is just a baseline. This is just a starting point for where you're at, and a way for you to work and get better. And you're right, just when we were recovering from accident, it's just one step at a time. You can't look too far ahead, but you also have to have that vision of, I'm going to return better than I've ever been. So that's something special to me that I've been able to watch, and I love being able to watch our other coaches work with the clients here and watch them grow as well, because it's interesting is the best part about working with human beings is actually being a part of their journey. That's where the real gratitude comes from, at least in my position.
Yeah. When I first started the journey, someone had a good conversation with one of the doctors who said, there's three things. It's one day at a time, okay, so you don't get mentally too exhausted looking at the long-term goal, but it's also 1 week at a time, 1 month at a time, and then your long-term goal where you want to get. And you have to, you'll get too worn out if you just look at the long-term goal. You have to say, I'm going to get better today, and I'm going to get better this week. And then that gives you an encouragement to continue to drive towards that end goal.
Yeah, and those two NFL players I was working with, it inspired them because they were recovering from injuries. They weren't recovering from a massive stroke and an accident. And then to be able to see a person's body go and step by step and get back to where you are, I think that motivates them more than you're ever going to know. I think, being a professional athlete, and I've spoken to a lot of them when they get hurt, it's like their whole world turns upside down. They don't know, am I ever going to play again? Am I going to be able to take care of my family? And, I think it inspires them way more than anything that we're going to tell them when they can see someone come back from something like that. It lets them know, okay, I'm going to be okay. I may not be okay in 2 days, but I'm going to be okay in a month, or I'm going to be okay in a year, and I will make it back again. So I think there's often a stigma around discussing mental health and challenge, especially recovering from injuries, especially for those recovering from serious health conditions. Why do you think it's so hard for people to open up, and how do we change that?
Well, I think people feel that they failed a little bit if it's not a straight line going forward. And they feel like when they do great one day and then they struggle the next day and they feel like they failed. And that's not at all like that. As long as you have the right mindset to give yourself 100%, maybe that day your body doesn't perform at 100%, maybe it's only performing at 70%, but that's okay, because the next day maybe it will perform at 100. And as long as you're able to mentally give it that 100%, that's all you really can do. You can't impact the body when you're coming back from major injury. Sometimes it just needs a little more time.
Yeah, and I think that maybe what people don't touch on either is when you don't have that mindset that you did, how difficult it could be on your loved ones and then people in your family as well that are trying to take care of you.
Very, very hard. It's really hard when someone close to you sees you and they know that you're not achieving to where you want to achieve. Even though you're doing everything you can do, you're not achieving as fast as you want to be or as far as you want to be. It's very important you don't put time parameters. You can set goals, but don't beat yourself up if you don't quite get there on time. Because as long as you get there, that's all that really matters.
Yeah. And would you say that anyone that was involved in helping you, get back your health, are you closer to those individuals now?
Oh my God, I've been so blessed to have some of the best people in the world that have worked with me at the beginning stages and people that are working with me now and everyone in between. That is so important. But I think what's important is they know that I wanted to get to the finish line and I wasn't going to show up and give 50%. So if they saw me giving 100%, they gave 100%, and that's how we got a bond.
Unfortunately, I've had a pretty big handful of clients have traumatic injuries that I met throughout my career, and not everyone partakes in that. Not everyone's family gives them that support and that courage, and it's something that I really look up to. I remember I had a quadriplegic client, and I didn't know that's what happened to my first. So he pulls up in the parking lot. He's got a red Corvette, but it's got modified. So he pulls himself out, grabs the wheelchair from the back, puts himself in the wheelchair, comes into the gym in the elevator, and I asked him, "Hey, do you need some help?" He's like, "No, I'm fine." He put himself on the table, and little did I know that after his traumatic accident, he started a marketing company, and it was actually one of the biggest in the world.
Wow.
So and he said, "Hey, at that time, I had no other option. I had to find something I was truly good at. I was given a gift." He was talking about his injury, and God just led me to where I need to be.
Wow, good. That's very inspirational. Wow.
And just like Randy out there, 18 years old, dirt biking, hit a bank, was paralyzed, and they told him he was going to walk again. And now here he is pulling up into the gym, and he's working out. And those are the special things for me, because I spend the time talking to him, and I'm like, "You're just here." He's like, "You're here now, and that's all that matters." And so every time I see you, I'm excited that you're coming in, no matter how you feel. And he builds some of the most incredible homes that exists in the world.
Wow.
And that was after the traumatic event. So it's almost like when you go through this traumatic event, it does something to your mind. It unlocks an area where, unless you go through that trial and tribulation, that maybe you wouldn't have found of yourself. And I do believe that it actually enables you to live into your best self as well. So that's something that I really look up to all of you guys that are on that journey, and then now chasing after your optimal health, what that actually looks like. And it just truly is inspiring to me. I think it's, I've been doing this for 10 years now. And after a while, I'm like, man, is there a light at the end of the tunnel? Because you kind of lose your passion when you're in business for so long and things get hard. And over the last year, I've really been reinvigorated with finding my passion. I didn't realize the outreach on how many people are actually receiving help. So I can't wait for where Project Bean looks like in 10 years or 20 years, and I hope to have them all over the United States so that we can get more stories like this. What are the top 3 items that have helped you at Project Bean recovery-wise?
Wow, there's so many things that I love here. I guess recovery-wise, I love the hyperbaric. I think is a very, very good piece of recovery. The float tank, the sensory float tank is phenomenal. And then I guess the laser medical sauna would be, and those are not in any particular order, but I try to utilize all of them in different ones for different days, depending on how I feel and what I'm doing. And
I love that you're able to make that distinction. And I want to go back and touch on the float pod, because it's I think it got really trendy. It was go in there and relax. But can you explain what that did to your body and how that kind of relaxed your spine?
Well, I'll tell you what it did is I still have numbness in my right side, but I used to have extreme numbness, and I would go in there. And for like the first 2 or 3 hours I got out, after being in there for about 55 minutes to an hour, the numbness was nearly non-existent. I said, this is the most unbelievable thing. And so it does something. You'll have to tell me what it does medically, but what it does, it just took my body into total relaxation mode, and the numbness almost dissipated.
So yeah, you're floating on top of that 1,200 pounds of salt, but what it is, it removed all the weight from your body. So like your body naturally was able to relax. You know, like a lot of times people go to the chiropractor's office and they'll get on the traction table. And I just don't like that, because you're like trying to force the body to decompress, where you're in there, you're relaxing, it's in the water. And, you know, also the water's at your body temperature, about 98.2 degrees.
Okay.
And that, I feel like, helps your entire body relax. So when you told me that, it really got me inspired, because that, obviously I wasn't thinking about that when we first put that in here, but I'm like, wow, this is incredible. You know, like it's just, it was like a hidden gem. Like this can help a lot of people. How do we get them to understand, and how do we get this information out to families of loved ones that are, you know, having these issues? So yeah, that I love that you love the float pod.
Yeah.
It was as you can imagine, getting that installed in here was quite an ordeal, but we made it happen anyway.
You know, what I love is you're always, every month I come in here and you always have a new project, a new piece of equipment, whether it be exercise equipment or whether it be recovery equipment. You're always on the cutting edge of finding new technology and new things, and I certainly appreciate that.
Thank you. And I think that, you know, a lot of people, they own the business and they just expect customers to stay, or you know, there's just an expectation that stuff's always going to be there. My expectation is, however we need to make this business better, whatever amount of money that I need to put back into the business, without hesitation, is always going to be done, because it's the customers that make our company. It's our customer service and the experiences that they have. And I'm willing to put whatever money that needs to be put back into the company, because maybe 2 years ago I said, I'm not in this for money. This is something that I truly love to do every day, and I get a chance to do it every single day, and that's a blessing. So however we're going to make this place better every day, we're going to do it. And you know, we're currently looking for a new building, and we'll probably make it twice as big. And I'm real excited for the design of that. Will be. It's going to be, yeah. And as you've been a member here from the beginning, you can see, like, there's always surprises, right? So hopefully by the middle of next month, we'll have those 3 new hard shell hyperbaric chambers, which will be unlimited for the membership, which is awesome.
Fantastic.
You know, I don't think any other place is doing that. And then we got the new cold tub coming as well. And yeah, just not putting trees everywhere, just, you know, whatever I can do to just increase that customer experience. It is so important. It's not customer support, it's the experience that you have here. That's the most important thing, because what I realized is, you could go anywhere else and they can buy all this stuff, but if you're not having the right experience, they're just missing out on those last couple of things. They're missing out on what creating that mentality and that comfort and that community when you walk into a building, it should actually feel like.
I just walked in today, and I haven't gotten the details yet, but I see there's a new PEMF.
Yes.
And I'm familiar with that because I use that in my recovery. I have one at home, not a bed, but I have a machine that I use, and it takes away inflammation. What is that machine going to do?
So that's the most powerful one that they make on the market. I'm a big researcher, so we've been blessed enough to get that. And now the PMF goes all the way through the bed.
Wow.
And we also have paddles, so we can scan the body and figure out where you're having an issue, and then treat that part of the body. So we can actually make it a customized treatment, so that way you're just not laying on there. And we can increase the frequency and the speed and the intensity, and we can make a truly customized, you know, protocol for you.
Wow.
So I'm really excited. We should have that probably going next week as well. So, and then we got the new medical light bed as well. So plenty of projects that I keep myself busy with.
More new toys. I love it.
Yes, but I was always the big visionary. So for me, it's like, how can we create like a wellness Disneyland? You know, and I wanted this place to feel the least like a doctor's office. Like if you come in and you do your IVs or we take your blood, like I wanted you to feel like you weren't in a doctor's office. Mm-hmm. Not that they're bad, but they just have a stigma around them. And once you end up there, you're never going to leave. And that's why I started concentrating on precision wellness. And wellness really is health and medical combined. That's what true wellness is. You know, there are times where you need medicine. There are times where you need holistic health care. Sometimes you do both at the same time, and it's different for every person. But what I hate is people go to the doctor's office and then they get stuck on 12 to 14 medications for the rest of their life.
Well, if I were to name this place, I would call it this is why the way I look at it, is a medical health wellness spa.
Perfect.
It covers everything that I want.
Yes, we always get stuck on the name, like, what are we going to call this thing? We come up with these crazy names, but I just like getting the names from the clients and the customers, because you guys use it and you know best. But yeah, so the next location will definitely have an actual spa inside, and I'm real excited to be able to create that. Until then, we're going to add a whole bunch of new toys here, like we always do. What did you do for work, Brandt, before you retired?
I worked, started my career, worked at the University of Toledo, where I went to school for a couple of years in recruiting.
Okay.
Then I worked for 2 Fortune 100 companies, Georgia Pacific
Wow.
and Weyerhaeuser. And then I've been an entrepreneur for the last 30 some years, basically in everything from real estate to private businesses and that kind of thing. So.
And then what actually got you into like working for yourself? Was there like an event that happened that pushed you to do so, or some type of a calling?
The bureaucracy of large companies.
Okay.
You know, that's really what it started with.
I had the same experience. I got asked to be a general manager at a new company. I was running a couple of locations between Las Vegas and California, and then they hired some financial guru from a large chain, and he came in, and I was like, oh, this isn't going to be very good. And but sure enough, that guy actually destroyed everything. But I'm still friends with my boss, and he said, Sean, I got to let you go, but he's like, but I think you got to work for yourself. He's like, you're just too you're too advanced. And I'm like, you just told me I'm too advanced, but you're making me lose my job. So I was pissed off. So I was driving. I remember going to UNLV, sitting in the parking lot. I was still in school, and I'm like, man, like, what do you mean I'm too advanced? So I'm too good for the job? Like, I got so angry, and then 6 hours later, I end up at a facility called City Athletic Club. I paid to be an independent trainer, and then since that day, that was my calling to be an entrepreneur, which was just funny because I think about it. And that's actually happened 2 additional times in my life where I literally was told, you're too good here, you're making other people look bad, so we got to let you go. And it's just the craziest feeling that gives you inside of your head. But I don't let that bother me anymore. And when that happened to me a few times, it was a blessing, because it always led me back to focusing on Project Well-Being full time. Mm-hmm. You know, especially working in professional sports. You know, you can give all that you can. The players love it, but sometimes you can't appease the entire staff. You know, because at the end of the day, it's a business. Like the players work for a business. So I got to see that from the inside out, and that was really interesting to me. But yeah, that's what led me to be an entrepreneur. Is someone said, yeah, I think you're too advanced. We got to let you go. So I think the bureaucracy there was interesting as well. Now, you mentioned you worked for 2 Fortune 100 companies. So what was that like? Working on that type of a level there?
Well, it was a fantastic learning experience for me. It gave me the fun. I mean, you get a fundamental business background being in college, but nothing like being in the real world and doing it.
Yes.
So it gave me a diverse fundamental background so that I could take those skills and do entrepreneurial things and do a diversity of different entrepreneurial skills. And I'm very lucky. I was very blessed and very lucky.
You mentioned real estate. What else did you do as an entrepreneur?
I was involved in a lot of small startup companies as a private investor, consulting with them, and not isolated anyone. The only field that I stay away from is the technology field.
That just seems like it's an ever-changing field. I don't like, you know, and obviously with artificial intelligence, like for instance, now in my business, we have artificial intelligence speaking to the customers through text messages and booking appointments for them, and I'm like, wow, that just like kind of eliminates what the front desk should be doing, and they were faster, like 2 seconds they get a response. Every now and again it has like a little glitch of something that doesn't understand, but I was like, wow, the computer just booked appointments for me. which is just crazy to think about. 10 years ago, that was never going to be a possibility.
Yeah, but you have the people here. The people are always going to make the difference here. I don't care how far we get advanced with AI or whatever. You still have to have the quality medical people, and you have that here, and that's the difference. And as long as you continue to hire great people and continue to make that a focus, I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm glad that you touched on that because, you know, health and wellness, like, yeah, artificial intelligence will be able to probably tell you what medicine or what supplement you need faster than we're going to be able to calculate that out. But you're absolutely right, is being able to interact with a person in health and wellness is something that should never go away. And I hope that people really understand that, what that would mean to never interact with a human being in health and wellness. That won't be good.
Right.
You know, it'll destroy that trust and that culture that was built. So that's something that I'm definitely not willing to sacrifice and do by any means. So, but yeah, if it allows the front desk staff to work a little faster, we'll get the artificial intelligence in there. But well, thank you so much, Brandt, for talking with me today. Again, I just want to let you know that you do truly inspire me and everyone else here. So I can't thank you enough for your time today. And I can't wait for people to listen to your journey and see your journey, and you just be able to share that with all of your family and friends as well.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity, and I want to inspire anyone along the way that has an injury or has something that you can get there. You can get there, and be patient. Work hard, and then on the second note, thank you for what you offer, because this place offers something that I think will help and enhance people's opportunity to get to the finish line, to get to where they want to get to. So thank you.
Thank you again, Brad. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.